Morning, Celebration Spiritual Center. Happy Sunday. Let's stand as we prepare an open service with prayer. And this morning, our prayer champion, Nick Bullitt, will lead us in prayer.
Let's take this time to close our eyes and just get grounded and centered as we prepare for prayer. Closing our eyes, let's take a deep breath in and release. And another breath in and release. Silently affirm to yourself, I am here now. I am present now. I recognize that there is one power, one presence, one energy. This energy permeates everything. It is the source of all things. It is pure energy filling all space. It's divine love and wisdom revealing itself in and through everything. And it's inexhaustible, always here, always present, always now, always available, guiding, inspiring, and creating. And as I recognize the very nature and presence of God, I stand in the knowing that I am one with the divine relationship of God. I am always a part of the one that is. I am always one with all there is, one with the very rhythm of life, one with the flow of time, one with the sunshine and the rain and the elements and all of the seasons, all of the patterns, all of the rhythms, and one with the perfect harmony that is life. And as I recognize what is true for me, I know this is true for each and every person in this space. It is true for everyone beyond these walls. Each and every one of us is animated with spirit, one with universal mind, always in divine relationship with all there is. There is one life, and this life is my life here and now. Therefore, I have no reason to search for God. Because God's source is forever present. At the very core of my being and my consciousness, I am one with God. I encounter God in the very energy, in every person, in every place, and in every circumstance. So as I recognize today, here and now, I know that there is perfect freedom in God. Today I know I am ready, willing, and able to surrender to the complete freedom that is universal good, to acknowledge that there is perfect freedom within me and allow spirit to move in my being as light and joy and flow. Today, now, I commit to the freedom that is joy. Today, now, I stand in the presence and the experience of perfect peace, knowing that Source is providing everything necessary for my physical, mental, spiritual well-being, and for my fullest self-expression. The vibration of freedom is operating in, through, and as me right here and right now in perfect harmony and perfect flow. God's divine intelligence is knowing exactly what to do to propel me to move forward to accomplish everything that I need to accomplish. So today, here, now, I declare that God's freedom is my freedom. Full circle, 360-degree freedom. Every single day of the week, freedom. Freedom in my mind, body, and spirit. Freedom in my home. Freedom in my employment. Freedom to initiate and activate all of my plans. Freedom to savor the moment. Freedom to use time as I see fit. Freedom to restore relationships. Freedom to optimize my health, to thrive, to move my business forward. Freedom to circulate my finances easily and effortlessly. Freedom to move into what it is that I need to do. Freedom to love and be loved. Freedom to share my gifts with the world. Freedom to realize the fullest expression of my potential. Freedom to be on the path and to be centered and grounded and confident and in self-love. Freedom to love and be loved. Freedom to play full out in 2020. Freedom to forgive and to let go. And freedom to be my family, my community, CSC, this country, and this planet. I am the vibration of this freedom. I am the God experience. Today I live in the full expression. It is gone. I know that tomorrow is not here. Life is in the now, the present. I know that life is leading me easily and effortlessly into the perfect fulfillment of my plans. I affirm that anything, any obstacle that gets in the way, I simply relieve it. I let it go, I drop it. I drop any concepts that are small, any concepts of self-doubt, and I expand into the fullness of who I am right here and right now. I acknowledge, accept, embrace my magnificence, worthiness. Love is the very fiber of my being. I claim this life knowing that it is brimming with possibility and success, and I expect the good. I give thanks in this moment. Thanks to God. Allow this to settle into the very energy of my being, every fiber, every molecule, every cell, and I say yes, yes, yes. I release it. It is done. The freedom that is God. And together we say amen. Ashe. And so it is.
And so we celebrate being right here, right now, in the present moment. The past is gone, the future is yet to come, and we are here now. Yes, yes? I can feel my feet on the ground. I'm in the present moment now. What a joyful place I found. Here in the present moment now. I am here now. I am here now. Leaving my worries at the door. Opening to more love and joy. Celebrate with me now. We're in the present moment now. Oh, we are here now. We are here now. We're here now. We are here now. Now let's just take a breath. We sing, I breathe in, I breathe out. The present moment. The easiest way to get back to the present is to bring your attention to your breath. Put your hand on your heart and say, I am here now. Here in the present, problems seem so small. Here in the present, all my giants fall. Here in the present, problems seem so small. Here in the present, all my giants fall. We are living the power of now.
Spiritual Center, where we celebrate the magnificence of God in you, as you, all around you. There is nothing but God, and it is absolutely good. This goodness is seated right where you are seated. Where you woke up this morning, the goodness resided, and it never, ever lost its location. It is one with you. This unconditional love is loving you right now. It is not keeping a list of your mistakes. It is not Santa. It doesn't have a naughty and a nice list. It has a perfect, whole, and complete list, and you are on it. Yes. We are so grateful to know that we are one with this loving presence. And if you are unfamiliar with an unconditionally loving God, a presence that knows you, knows how it created you, welcome here, welcome home. That's how and why we celebrate. And at CSC, we believe that everything is spiritual. That includes your smart devices. So what I need you to do is spiritualize your cell phone. Go ahead and put it on vibrate. But if something moves you or touches you, put it out there on Facebook and Twitter. Let people know where you are. Where you are connected to source. And that consciousness is connected to all other beings. So you never know how you're going to impact another life. Put it out there on Facebook and Twitter. And if on your way in you received one of these blue connection cards, please fill it out. Turn it over on the back. Email address. Drop it in with your offering and we'll put you on our mailing list. We are moving towards March, which means we're moving towards year 7 at CSC. 7 years. And you want to know what's going on, so please make sure you fill that out. When Pastor Greg and I were in the process of saying yes to this thing that we're currently co-creating, we said we wanted to create a place that felt so much like home that you would never, ever be a visitor. If anything, you'd be a guest. First time you come, you're a guest, and when you come back, you're family. So, if we have any first-time guests, please stand briefly so that we can acknowledge you. First time guests. Thank you for being here. And remember, the first time you come, you're a what? Yes. When you come back, you're what? Family. That's all. Stand and greet each other like family.
We are a family, like a giant tree, branching out towards the sky. We are a family, we are so much more than just you and I. We are a family, like a giant tree, growing stronger, growing wiser. We are growing free. We need you. We are a
Yes, we are one big, happy, beautiful family. And I thought it was fitting that as we just began last week the study and the teaching of Working with the Law by Raymond Hollowell, that we sing this song, which is right in tune with what is being shared and what we will be shared later today, looking at the law of thinking. And the song simply says, the universe is responding to me. The universe is responding to me. I create my reality. The universe is responding to me. What is it responding to? It's responding to my thought and my vibration. It's responding to my thought, responding to me. And as we talk later today more about the law of thinking, we'll understand what that's all about. But the truth is that God, the universe, the law, use whatever name feels good to you, source and spirit is always responding to you. We're not responding to God. And when we get that piece alone, it's a game changer.
Yes, indeed.
So this song is a party, it's a celebration. If you know it, I invite you to join in. The universe is responding to me.
this morning with you today. One thing you'll learn about CSC is that our vision, mission, and purpose guide everything that we do. The vision. Celebration Spiritual Center is a God experience that turns on the heart, mind, and soul of the world. A God experience is the realization of oneness that transcends material sense. Our mission and purpose is to awaken the world to the presence of God within and all around us. To celebrate this truth as one family, to embody unconditional love, to equip humanity to live our greatest lives, and to serve all creation. The centering thought for this month's meditation is, I am one with God. And the song for the month is, I am remembering who I am. We continue the January message series, You Better Work, Truth Principles for Successful Living. I've been watching some RuPaul's Drag Race lately, so. Work it out! Working with the law. Dr. Raymond Hollywell writes, every idea and mental picture must produce after his own kind, whether the picture is good or bad. The law determines it so. The law does not question or challenge the kind of picture we give to it. It only knows that it must take what is offered or planted and then proceed to materialize it in a visible form. There is a definite something that is always at work, responding to the ideas and mental pictures that we give it. Some call it God, some call it spirit, some call it universe. Beyond the infinite names we may give it, we must come to know it as law. God is law, and law is God. Ancient wisdom teaches us that law is always available, always responding, and yet the circumstances of our lives and our world seem to reflect just the opposite, unavailable and non-responsive. Could it be that this is the result of our misunderstanding of the law? In order to work with the law, we must develop a clear understanding, void of superstition about what it is, what it does, how it works, and how to work with it. We begin this new year and new decade with a 3-part teaching series inspired by working with the law. Prepare your heart and mind to receive and apply these truth principles. As you come to know the law, you can work the law. Pastor Greg's topic today is, My Thinking Makes It So. It's time for your CSC news and updates. Our month of powerful prayer has begun. Join PG, PY, and the prayer champions Monday through Friday for the Momentum Prayer Call at 7 a.m. Call details can be found at the host table, on our website, and on social media. Start your morning in the right vibration and let that momentum carry you through the day. If you can't join us live, and trust me, you are going to want to join us live, you can still listen to the playback at any time. It will be available for pickup beginning January 26th after service. It will be available to all members of PG and PY. Your next opportunity to receive direct and knowledge from Pastor Greg and Pastor Yolanda is here. Learn the keys to activating prosperity in every area of your life through the transformative 12-week process known as the 4T Prosperity Program. Classes begin February 6th through April 23rd. The cost is $99 for new students and $50 for returning students. Go to celebrationsc.org/register and register today. Are you interested in volunteering at CSC? Are you sure? Are you interested in volunteering at CSC? Yeah. Well, bring your skills and talents to Team Celebrate. We are holding PM following the weekend service. If you're interested in attending, go to celebrationsc.org/register and then click on the Team Celebrate icon. Who you are is who we need. Come get clarity about what's going on in your life. Pastor Greg and Pastor Yolanda are here to support you in applying what you learn at CSC to your daily life experiences. Join us next Sunday, January 19th at 1 p.m. for the God Talk, and no question is off limits. Text to give. It's fast, easy, and secure. Text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500, then follow the prompts. $10 minimum is your donation, and again, that number is 347-744-9500. Try it out today. Now, just a few housekeeping reminders. Water, food and drink, or video recording. See you again next week.
Well, we've come to the time in our service that we dedicate more fully to ourselves. Not the lowercase s, the capital S. The S that is one with this power that we speak of. The capital S that is one with this law that we speak of. What we realize is that when we're in fear, doubt, and worry, we've forgotten something. We've forgotten that we're one with God. We've forgotten that this presence is unconditionally loving us. And we've forgotten that we are not our small s. We are more than that. When we go into meditation, we often, the mind is racing about the worries and the unworthiness, and on it goes. But we affirm that we are one with God, and we let those thoughts pass. We don't judge them. We bring ourselves back to the truth of our being. I am one with God, one with all power. Can you imagine one with all power? What that feels like? One with all power, all knowledge, all wisdom, all intelligence. You could just show up and open your mouth and that power would be activated. You could just show up in the world and be guided on your next step. It's not something we have to wake up to in the sense of doing more. We have to undo the beliefs that we hold. The beliefs that say, I am only as big as my last experience. The beliefs that say, I'm never going to be more than this. The beliefs that say I cannot, that's what we're going to undo. When we remember that we are one with God. So let's close our eyes right now. We begin to notice mindfully the breath. We get to just notice the breath. The breath that woke you yesterday. The breath that you through any experience. The breath that is here right now. And this breath that we speak of is often referred to prana. Notice the energy gathering within you. We're remembering right now, this energy never leaves us nor forsakes us. Now bring your focus to your feet. Go ahead and just relax the feet to the floor. It's as if a weight is being lifted from you. Let it sink into the floor, grounding you. And now that energy gathers underneath the soles of the feet, spreads through the toes and the heels, and now travels up the ankles. Relax the ankles. Energy flows across the shins and calves. They surrender to this knowingness of oneness. Relax the shins and calves. Flowing across the knees, we surrender and let go. Relax the knees. Energy now flows across the thighs, towards the hips, settles in the hip sockets, those seats of joy. We relax and open the hips now. And in our mind, we see a subtle body, an energetic body, chakra system. We open and allow as we travel up the spine, these vortices to spin and vibrate and balance. Energy flows up the spine, crossing the heart, and easily flows out the crown. In your mind, see it gathered above you, loving you, supporting you, responding to you. And as this energy is above us all, we open more fully and allow it to flow down through the crown, across the third eye, opening the throat to speak words of love, down the shoulders and arms, and out the fingertips. If you like, turn the palms up and relax the hands down on the thighs, signaling that you are more receptive to this love, this connection. Or if you prefer, palms down, ground yourself more. If the palms are up, we notice a gentle kiss, a gentle breeze, an affirmation of love in our hands and at our disposal. Now, bring your focus to the right side of your body and allow the prana to move on the inhale up the right side. Hold it there. Exhale down the left side. Hold it there. Exhale down the right. Inhale up the right. And exhale down the left. Inhale up the left. Exhale down the right. A few more. This gentle rocking sensation that you are one with this love. Last time. And now bring your focus and your breath to the low belly. Inhale, expand the low belly. Hold it there. And this time open the mouth and release. Inhale up through the rib cage, expanding the front and the sides and the back of this beautiful vessel. Hold it there. Open the mouth and let it out. Last time, inhaling all the way up through the heart now. Activating Any fear, doubt, and worry. And make room for this one mind. As you breathe, we will support you in song. Support you in remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. A perfect creation. I am remembering an eternal being. I am remembering. I'm not my mistakes. Who I am. I'm remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. And as we prepare for the silence, scan your body one last time. Notice if you're holding on anywhere. If the palms are up, you can turn them over and ground yourself in this moment, remembering that I am one with God. And as the thoughts come and go, bring yourself back to this awareness. Let every voice but this voice that loves you be still now. With our eyes still closed, we examine this internal landscape. And if there's anywhere that we're holding on still to an old idea of self, we let it go now. I am not my past. I am one with this loving presence. Therefore, I am love. I am power. I am peace. I'm remembering. And those memories of this voice that goes with me today will remind me in those moments of doubt that I am one with God. Whatever you call God, I am one with God. Enjoy this remembering and take it with you this week. Maybe hear these voices in the back of your mind. Maybe hear this melody. Maybe remember this time you gave yourself. Start to bring yourself back to your body, back to the room. And signaling your return to the body, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes. Maybe a bigger breath inhale and releasing it. Now bring your palms together at hearts who preceded us on this journey. Those who now remember, we join with. Slowly flutter the eyes open, taking in a point on the floor. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze. Namaste. Nice and easy, bringing yourself back. And remember, I am
That felt good, as it always does. Meditation always feels good. So this song is a song that I've shared in the past as a songwriter. I think sometimes we can write songs, based on certain ideas or certain spiritual ideas as a gospel songwriter, because they're ideas that we've heard, they're ideas that are popular or that we're comfortable with. And then there's some songs that you can't write until you've really experienced it. And so this song really, it came directly out of my experience. I could not have access to this song. I could not have access to the heart of what this song was really all about, except that I experienced it in my own life. And so the lyrics sort of take me through a journey of the past, recognizing that while I couldn't see it at the time, behind it all, there was a master plan. Behind it all, there was something that was holding my hand. Behind it all, there was a purpose. When I was homeless, I didn't see the purpose in homelessness. When my grandmother passed, I didn't see the purpose. I didn't understand what I could possibly glean that was positive out of that experience. When she passed, I said to myself, I don't know if I'll ever stop being sad. And I spent most of that year being sad. But as I reflected on my life from a different vantage point, I was able to find something very profound. And so this song is part of what came out of that moment. I invite you to hear the lyrics and see yourself in the journey. I've lived long enough to know that I would fly, to hold a golden mind and watch it come to life. I've lived long enough to know the deepest pain, to know I'll never see a loved one's face again. I've lived long enough to know how true love, how it feels, to look in someone's eyes and the whole world just stands still, still, still. I've known good and I've known bad. I've seen the happy and the sad, and at every step you were behind it all. Behind it all, you were holding my hand. Behind it all, there was a purpose I could not see. I thought I was alone, but the truth is, I've lived long enough to lose everything I own, not knowing when I would have another home. I've lived long enough to know the joy of new life, to see the miracle of a newborn baby's eyes. I've lived long enough to lose a lover and a friend. Oh, I walk through the valley and come out whole again. I know good and I know bad. I've seen the happy and the sad, and at every step you behind, there was a master plan. I don't know what the thing is that you experienced in your life, but you realize now that behind it all, God was holding your hand. Behind it all, there was a purpose I could not see. In the midst of that trial, in the midst of that sadness, I thought I was alone. But now I know that God was always right there, behind it all. This is my favorite part. See, the truth of life, every life has its season.
Every life has its season.
Winter promises that spring comes.
Winter promises spring will bring us.
Yes, yes. Above the rain, the sun always shines, and that's the truth of life. You are always there, behind it all.
Behind it all, there is a master plan.
Yes, there is a master plan.
Behind it all,
Whoa.
you are holding my hand. Behind it all,
There is a
there is a
purpose.
purpose I could not see.
I am never alone. But the truth is that God is there. God is always there. Peace of mind is always there. Oh, never alone. Behind it. Behind it all. Behind the disappointment. Behind the challenge. Behind the problem. Behind the challenge. Behind the problem. Behind the sickness. Behind the doubt. Behind the fear. No matter what you're experiencing in your life, God is always there. Yeah. No matter what we're experiencing, we're experiencing. Oh, yeah. Behind it all, there's a master plan. There's a master plan. There's a purpose in it all. Oh, I promise you it'll all make sense. I promise you it'll all make sense. Behind it all. So it is. So it is. Behind it all. Today is excited about the series as we are in our three-part series based on and inspired by the text Working with the Law by Dr. Raymond Hollowell. And I've been seeing people have been posting and sharing and tagging online. Do you have your book? Do you have your book? Please go and get it. The links are online. You can find the links on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, or just go directly to Amazon and purchase Working with the Law by Dr. Raymond Hollowell. This is a text that you want to have in your library, but more importantly, it's a text that you want to read as we are moving through this beautiful series. Now, we started last week by answering the question, because if we're talking about working with the law, we have to know what the law is. And we can't actually work with the law if we're living in victim consciousness. If we think that life is happening to us, we can't work with the law. And so we must get rid of that sense of powerlessness. And so we spoke from the topic last week, the fault is not in our stars. And so this week we're going to just move on forward, and we're looking at the law of thinking today. And so as last week, the fault is not in our stars, that was inspired by a line from Julius Caesar that we read in the text. And Hollowell actually says something interesting about Shakespeare that I want to share here, where he writes, Shakespeare saw something within the man as the cause of his failure or success. We see Hamlet wrestling with his reluctant, indecisive soul. Macbeth is being pulled and driven by his ambition. Othello is torn and discomfited by his jealousy. Always, the characters were battling with their circumstance. Call forth your power, initiative, and ingenuity and be the master. Inspired that line and where he uses that line from Julius Caesar, that conversation. But I was reminded of another conversation that actually comes from Hamlet. It's Act 2, Scene 2. It's a conversation, it's Hamlet speaking to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And he says it's a prison. And so Guildenstern says, "Prison, my lord?" Hamlet says, "Denmark's a prison." And Rosencrantz crafts many confines, wards, and dungeons, Denmark being one of the worst. And Rosencrantz replies, "We think not so, my lord." And here's the key. Hamlet says, "Makes it so. To me, it is a prison." And this is a beautiful New Thought lens. You'll find that he was constantly dropping these truths within the stories. And so here in the mouth of Hamlet, he's put this profound truth, for there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Hey. Now, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern didn't believe that Denmark was a prison, even in a literal sense. But Hamlet, based on his experience and based on his thinking and based on the meaning that he applied to his experience, said that Denmark is indeed a prison. And it is my thinking that makes it so. To me, it is a prison. It reminded me of something that for those of you who have either taken 50 Days of Fearless Living with Pastor Yolanda, or if you've just been listening to us for the last 7 years, or if you studied A Course in Miracles on your own, the first 4 lessons of A Course in Miracles are really dealing with this idea of your thinking making it so. Lesson 1, nothing I see means anything. Right. Lesson 2, I have given everything I see all the meaning that it has for me. 3, I do not understand anything I see. 4, these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see. So I think this is interesting, one, because so often, and unfortunately there are certain schools of thought, certain communities that won't even embrace the text like A Course in Miracles because it's too new, or because it's a channeled text. But here's the thing. Truth is truth is truth. Hamlet, through, or really Shakespeare, through the mouth of Hamlet said, thinking makes it so. Many, many years later, we hear the same words coming through this text of A Course in Miracles. Nothing I see means anything, right? It's our thinking. These thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things that I see. Our thinking, then, is the most powerful faculty we possess. I think this is so incredibly important. It is more important, even like it makes a lot of sense. My thinking is more important than the fact that I can see. My thinking is more important than my hearing. My thinking is more important than my tasting, touching, and smelling. Well, why is that true? Because our thinking actually determines what we see. Our thinking determines what we feel. Our thinking determines even what we taste, touch, and smell. See, the truth of life is that mind acts upon body. And mind leads and guides and directs the body. Now, when I talk about body, what I'm talking about is anything that's external out here. All external affects everything outside of mind. In truth, mind thinking is what affects the external. See, the problem is for most of us, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, the body has become the mind. And so what happens, because this is why it's hard to believe that our thinking is the most powerful faculty, because see, the news thinks for us. It's hard for us to think that our thinking or our mind is the most powerful faculty, because statistics think for us, or our mother thinks for us, or what we think our mother thinks for us. Your family history thinks for you. Your cultural background thinks for you, and even your sexual identity or orientation thinks for you. Mind comes before all of those things. Comes before all of those things. There is nothing necessarily wrong with these things, and I want you to hear this. If they lead you to a positive or constructive outcome. But this is actually a form of powerlessness. Because if your mother always spoke affirming words to you and said, baby, you can do it. Baby, you can have it. Baby, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're capable. And that's what your mother always was. And every time you felt down, you could call your mother and she would speak that word and you would lift you up and things would work out. What happens when she transitions? All of a sudden the power is gone. And so it's important that we must completely learn to think for ourselves. And so as we understand that mind comes before all effects, all external outcomes or conditions, we must rule our minds because my thinking makes it so. And so when we read in the law of thinking, there's something that Hollowell says here that we're going to focus on a bunch of different things. But the first piece that he writes about a ruling state of mind. And we read it this way. The progress of the individual is largely determined by her basic factor and governing power in the life of humanity. Attention should be given to the predominant state, for it will regulate the action and direction of all one's forces, faculties, and powers, the sum total of which will inevitably determine many particular experiences and the personal fate. If her ruling state is upward bound, that is, aspiring, harmonious, and positive, all her forces will be directed into constructive channels. But if her state of mind is downward in tendency, that is, discordant and negative, then almost all her forces will be. Mental state is what determines how our life outpictures, right? Aspiring, harmonious, positive, upward bound, then constructive channels it will be directed through. It'll be directed through downward channels if it's discordant, if it's negative, and almost all the forces will. What is my ruling state of mind? You can pick any area of your life, condition or state, and it will show you the ruling state of mind. The thing is, it's not like you can jump into your subconscious mind and dig through and see everything that's going on in your subconscious mind. You can't do that. But you can look at the effects. You can look at the condition. You can look at the state, and it will show you your ruling state of mind. But here's the thing. Don't spend too much time there. Please don't spend too much time looking at, oh, well, my money is funny. I must have a funny state of mind. Right? My relationships are busted. I must have a busted state of mind. I can't seem to get ahead in my career. I must not be getting ahead in my mind. Awareness is important. But many people who claim to be woke or claim to be aware of their ruling state of mind, they live life in this way. And again, awareness is important. We get to a place of awareness and then we're like, well, I'm this way because I have this condition because this didn't work out because some of you know there's a show that I love, Married at First Sight. The new season just started. I love the show, right? And there's one of the brothers on the show that I'm concerned about because his ruling state of mind is interesting. I want you to hear this. He experienced something. His father left at the age of 13. And he keeps telling that story. Every episode, we keep hearing him talk about, my dad left when I was 13, so, I want to be a different type of father. But his ruling state of mind is based on that loss. He's constantly talking about and seeing himself and acting through that lens. And I'm concerned because I know that ruling state of mind is going to show up in this relationship. I know that ruling state of mind, that story that he has, that he keeps telling that he's aware of, it's beautiful to be aware. He's aware that this is going to affect me in some way, and so he's trying to do something different, but he actually hasn't healed it. And so it's important that we don't just live in the awareness alone, but that we learn to change it. It would be like this. Imagine if you were preparing some food and you were chopping vegetables and you accidentally cut yourself. Now, initially, and it takes a few seconds, but initially you might not be aware that you cut yourself. But a few seconds later, you would feel the effects. First, the cut may be painful, yes, yes. And then, of course, not only would you feel the effect, but then you would see the effect because there would be blood, yes, yes? Yes. And at the point that you are now aware of the cut, what would you do? You would stop the bleeding and put a Band-Aid on, yes, yes? Sadly, this is not what most people do. Most people walk around this planet in excruciating pain, and they're bleeding all over everybody. Oh yeah, I was chopping vegetables, and so I'm sorry, but this is what happened. I chopped vegetables, and so I'm just bleeding. This is what it is. Can you deal with me and my right? Right, and I see fake deep memes about, a real man will, a real woman will, ... be able to understand your trauma or understand your pain, right? Heal the trauma. Be aware of the trauma. Yes, we all experience trauma. And then now let's heal it. Don't just be aware of it. That's the equivalent of walking around with a cut and not doing anything about it. As soon as you are aware of the condition, turn to the solution or turn to the new state that you desire to experience. Now, Hallowell in the text, he gives us a much more, another way to think about this. An example, it's very simple and easy. He says, if we are cold, we do not work with cold and heat alike in order to get warm. We build a fire, and as we gather around that fire, we enjoy the heat that is extended from it and become warm. As we build up warmth, the cold disappears. The cold is the absence of heat. To be warm, we give our whole thought to those things which tend to create warmth. Think about that. And again, this seems so obvious because we do it all the time in a context like that, but we don't do that when it comes to the things that are going on in our lives, right? When we're aware of something, something in our past, something in our childhood, something that took place, and we realize that this is creating a current condition, it's cold, then we don't start talking to the cold, okay, what can we do? How can we get rid of you? I really don't want you to be here anymore. We put our mind and focus and attention on, let me turn up the heat, let me build a fire. We put our mind on heat. Yes, yes. And so again, I say, as soon as you are aware of the condition, and that's the first part of the work. Awareness is the first step. Many of us are just walking around, we're completely unaware. We're not even aware that we're in pain. We're not even aware that we're bleeding. But the point that we become aware, turn to the solution or the new state you desire to experience. So then we must ask ourselves, what ruling state of mind do I need to develop? Do I need to adopt, implement, or focus on to change that experience? Now that we understand, based on the law of thinking, understanding that life is always responding to our thoughts, and it's responding to the ruling state of mind, and we now see what our ruling state of mind is based on the conditions or the effects. What ruling state of mind do I now need to develop? If my thinking makes it so, what pattern of belief and pattern of ideas must I adopt in order to have the experiences that I desire? And so then we get in now to how to think. And Hallowell is very clear. He gives us 3 words. Our thinking must be disciplined, it must be orderly, and it must be constructive. And we read in the text this: humanity's problem then is to direct our power of thinking into constructive channels of expression. When our thoughts are aimless and imperfect, we create for ourselves pain and confusion. This is misdirected energy. The first question in our self-development is, are we controlled by our thoughts, or are we controlling our thoughts? Are we using our thoughts for gain, or are we using, or are our thoughts using us for continued loss? He goes on, Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all things will be added. Heaven is a state of mind. Y'all know that, right? Yes. It ain't no place, streets paved with gold. Jesus said, no milk and honey. There isn't a mansion waiting for you over there. You are not going to walk around heaven all day. Heaven is a state of mind, and so is hell. Let's keep it all the way real. And so if heaven is a state of mind, he says, therefore, heaven is an orderly, disciplined, constructive state of thinking. To gain all things, we must first gain a disciplined, orderly, constructive state of mind. Have you a disciplined mind? My thinking makes it so. Now, if you were here, I think it was November, our series in November, the way of the master metaphysician, right? We talked a lot. That whole series was really about developing discipline. And I shared the definition of discipline, which is simply to train oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. So this state of mind that we must develop and how we must think, if it's discipline, it must be controlled and it must be habitual. Right? It must be that no matter what consciousness, right? We don't think this way because it feels good today, right? We don't choose to develop this state of mind just because of what it wants right now. Discipline, no matter what, controlled, habitual, every day. I invite you to go back to that series if you haven't seen it or you want a refresher. It'll give you more information as it relates to being disciplined. Again, that's the way of the master metaphysician from November. But then we have this second aspect, how to think. Our thinking must be orderly. I love that. Right. I love that. You know, now it can sound stuffy at face value. Like, what does that mean to be orderly? But to be orderly means we are thinking according to a pattern. Methodical, regulated, organized. And so this is why if you're taking 4 T's, for instance, when we think about ideas about prosperity and developing a prosperity consciousness, everything is designed within that 12-week class to support us in developing an orderly mind, right? A pattern of thinking along the pattern of what is true about prosperity, thinking along the lines and the pattern of what is true about abundance, thinking along the lines and the pattern of what is true of forgiveness, thinking and thinking along the lines and the pattern of what is true of your worthiness, of your holiness, of your divinity. It's orderly. And the thing is, orderly thinkers don't wait to meditate when they're feeling bad or in fear. Meditation is not a pill. See, when you're thinking according to a pattern and you understand what meditation is doing, that meditation is a connection with this larger part of yourself that you are, and you must operate in this world knowing that you're more than what your 5 senses show you. That's why we meditate, so that then when your 5 senses show you some foolishness, you can call it foolishness. Orderly thinkers don't start praying when the problem arises. If you're praying, thinking, and orderly, methodically, regulated, organized, according to a pattern, you're praying every day. So then when it's time to pray because something shows up, you're not, oh, well, let me think, what are my words? Well, what do I want to say? Well, what's true? You've been thinking along a pattern. Orderly thinkers don't start using their affirmations because now they want to get a promotion at work. Now you want to start using your affirmations and grabbing your Louise Hay book. Orderly thinkers are affirming and have their affirmations that you are speaking into existence every single day. Orderly thinkers don't start applying prosperity ideas. Oh, my bank account's low. What's that prosperity idea? What's that book? No, we don't know. You're constantly thinking according to a pattern. It's methodical. It's regulated. It's organized. It's all day, every day, no matter what. And the third word, we're disciplined, our thinking must be orderly, and our thinking must be constructive. And what it means to be constructive is that it's promoting improvement or development. And improving and developing is a moment by moment, day by day, month by month, year by year experience. There was always a disciplined, organized, and constructive thinking that led to the result. We don't realize that sometimes it feels like things come out of the blue. It seems like, oh my God, I don't know where the good and the not so good or unwanted, right? I feel like I don't know where that came from. It came out of nowhere. If this law is true, and if the law works this way, and it always works this way, no matter what, for all beings, no matter where we are in the universe, then there was disciplined, organized, constructive thinking that led to result. It was from 2000, doing a fruit vegan diet. I didn't really easy to me. Right? Because I was like, I'm doing something hardcore because this is how I want to start the year. And again, I used to do this for years. And so then in 2012, Pastor Yolanda and I decided to shift to a plant-based diet. And we started that in the fall of 2012. We did a 10-day juice detox. And then we went right into eating plant-based, and it was really easy. It was nice and smooth. And I remember I would talk to people, and they're like, oh, wow, that must have been really hard. And I said, no, it was actually really easy. And I honestly, my ego, I was in a sense of pride, like, nah, I got it. It was easy. I didn't have any of those cravings or. But what I wasn't recognizing was something very profound that this Facebook memory in 2008 is reminding me of. That I had already established a disciplined, orderly, constructive way of being, that every year in January, I was already eating this way. Every year in January, I was already operating in this way without really thinking about it. So the only reason it appeared to be easy, the only reason that transition appeared to be so wonderful and overnight, there was constructive thought that was behind it. And so then that was the result of what had already been deposited. Understand that, right? Even when things come easy, even when things seem to show up out of nowhere, there was understand that it was your thought that made the thing or the outcome. Then you'll think the next time something happens and you want to be able to use the power of your thought, you won't know that you can. So I want to end with two more stories. When you read The Law of Thinking, Halliwell shares a couple interesting stories. He shares a story about a farmer and about a woman that wants to sell a house. But I wanted to give us some more modern stories. And so NBC News, on their website, they have a section that's called like health and wellness and career tips, and it's really some cool stuff. And so they had he's 30 years old, and the heading of this piece says how this man lost 60 pounds. A 3-step plan helped him lose weight and run a marathon. And so our dear friend Mitch Cook, he lost 60 pounds. That was his New Year's resolution for 2019. And he also finished his first marathon. And so we read, it says, Cook, a busy salesman who has to reach a sales goal at the end of every month, says he understood it was necessary to have a plan to achieve his weight loss. For me, having a New Year's resolution is great, Cook tells NBC News Better. But if you don't know how you're going to get there, because most of us don't when we set out on that New Year's resolution, then how does that end result happen? Cook's plan consisted of 3 simple changes. Now I'm going to give you the 3 changes. It says he tracked what he ate, he paid attention to his portion sizes, and he planned his meals in advance. But none of that is the reason for his success. None of that is the reason for his success. Now, if we read on and we go further, it says he focused on getting through the first 21 days. Cook was familiar with the idea that it takes 21 days to form a habit. He says he knew if he could stick to his new plan for that long, that he could transform his routine. I just kept telling myself, do it for 3 weeks and it will become part of your daily life. Tracking his progress on the app helped, he said, because the app gave him an estimated time frame for reaching his goal, which kept him excited about reaching day 21. And so when we understand what we've been talking about according to the law of thinking, what was really the truth or the weight, the momentum behind his success? Discipline, orderly, organized, constructive thinking. It's interesting because he didn't even decide to run a marathon until 3 months into this journey. That was a new idea that came forward after he had developed the habit. He knew very clearly that I need to develop a habit. What do we talk about? Being disciplined is about developing a habit, training oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. He knew he needed a plan, so he got an app that gave him a plan that helped him to track the days. So then he was orderly in his thinking according to a pattern. But here's the thing. People lose weight doing a zillion different things. And as long as we're on the planet, there will be new weight loss tips. There will be new weight loss opportunities. You can lose weight doing a million different things, but you will never be able to release weight. You will never be able to be successful in anything that you've chosen to do if your thinking is not deliberate, disciplined, controlled, orderly, organized, and habitual. It's impossible. And so what we're seeing here, while it's beautiful, and I'm sure they don't understand discipline will happen. It's a lot of apps for it. If I'm going to start a new habit, I follow that same idea of 21 days. And so to give myself that incentive every day, I'm checking off the days, right? I have the calendar. This is my goal. I want to do it in 21 days. And it supports me in being disciplined. It supports a calendar app or just find an app that does it. It's wonderful. So I want to give you another example. And this is a global example, and it's interesting because of the time that we're living in right now, and the things that are going on between our country and Iran, and the things that Trump is doing right now. And so I've seen a lot of people actually quoting part of this article, and so I want to kind of give us some more context. It's something that comes from Newsweek, and it was in Newsweek in April of last year, and it was about former President Jimmy Carter. He was sharing a story, sort of anecdotally, sharing a story with his Sunday school class. He teaches Sunday school every Sunday. He's still in his 90s. And he was sharing this story about a conversation that he had with President Trump. President Trump called him for advice, which I found very interesting. And says a lot about who Jimmy Carter is. And so, as he's telling the story, this is what we read here in the article. Since 1979, do you know how many times China has been at war with anybody? None. And we have stayed at war. The U.S., he noted, has only enjoyed 16 years of peace in our 242-year history, making the country the most warlike nation in the history of the world. This is, he said, because of America's tendency to force other nations to adopt our American principles. He goes on, he says, in China, meanwhile, the economic benefits of peace were clear to the eye. How many miles of high-speed railway do we have in this country, he asks. While China has some 18,000 miles of high-speed rail, the U.S. has wasted, I think, $3 trillion on military spending. It's more than you can imagine. China has not wasted a single every way. That's the article. But when I read this, I was like, oh my goodness, the law of thinking. The Chinese, they are disciplined, they are orderly, and they are constructive, right? Now, this is not about, celebrating their politics, and of course we know, just like our country, they have many human rights violations. So we're not focusing on that right here and right now, but this is a teaching moment. Oh my goodness. Since 1979, do you know how many times China has been at war with anybody? None. Right? And what's interesting about that, China made a clear decision, a disciplined decision, an orderly decision, a constructive decision for their benefit. And it's interesting to me because when I think about how our lives work, and if we could kind of think about if a nation was thinking, right? Now, do you think there were times that China didn't want to go to war? Do you think there were things that China wasn't upset about and wished somebody would? But see, what we do, unlike China, this is important, and there's a whole section that talks about being ruled by our emotions in the law of thinking. See, what we do is we get off course. We start out with disciplined thinking. We start off with orderly thinking. We start off with constructive thinking, and then we move into the I wish somebody would, and we're in war, and then what happens? We don't experience the benefits of peace. We don't experience the blessing of peace. We don't experience the prosperity of peace, because when you are not spending any of your mental currency on foolishness, when you are not spending any of your mental currency on war, whatever that looks like in your life, when you are not spending your mental currency on drama and foolishness and worry and backbiting and bickering and complaining and gossiping, when you're not spending your mental currency on that, all of a sudden you have trillions of dollars to do things that benefit your nation. All of a sudden you have trillions of dollars that benefit your life. All of a sudden you have trillions of mental dollars to use on things that benefit your family. All of a sudden you have trillions of mental dollars to begin to apply to that business. All of a sudden you have trillions of mental dollars to begin to apply to those ideas that you've been sitting on. All of a sudden you have trillions of mental dollars. And I think this is just a beautiful teaching moment when we understand the law of thinking. Because a long time ago, China made a choice. Course in Miracles says, I can see peace instead of this. That's what the choice that they made. I can see peace instead of this. Yeah, I can rock with you. I've rocked with the best of them. But what I understand right here, right now, the way my life is set up, the way I'm trying to live my life, the things I see in my mind, the prosperity that I want to experience, I can see peace instead of this. Yes. And I'm not going to spend my mental currency on that way of thinking or that way of living or that way of being. I am going to be disciplined in my thinking because my thinking makes it so. I'm going to be orderly in my thinking because my thinking makes it so. I'm going to be constructive because my thinking makes it so. With that, I invite everybody to stand. Get the book, y'all, and live with this series. We're going to keep illuminating and expounding on these ideas. But please don't just let this be a on Sunday experience. Yeah. Make this the truth of your life. And so as we breathe in and we breathe out, I remember that there is one mind, one power, one presence, one law that is working in all, through all, and as all. There is one life. That life is my life now. There is one life. That life is your life now. And it's good, for the intention of life itself is universal good. As we hear the words in the mouth of our elder brother Jesus, it is the Father's. It is life's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, universal good. We know that is what is always seeking to express in, through, and as our lives. And as I recognize that I am one with it and one of it, I now make myself available. I make myself available to that good. As I recognize that I am one with it and one of it, I choose peace instead of this. I am so grateful and thankful to remember this law of thinking, that our thoughts are always being responded to. The universe is responding to me, responding to my thought and my vibration. The universe is responding to me. The law is responding to me. It is responding to my ruling state of mind. And right here and right now, as I examine my ruling state of mind, I forgive myself and I set myself free, where I may have developed a pattern of thinking that did not benefit me in the long run. I forgive myself, I set myself free, I let it go, I stop the bleeding, I put the Band-Aid on. And I put my mind and my focus now on developing a new state of mind. And in this state of mind, I find that I am perfect, whole, and complete. From this state of mind, I find and I know and I affirm that I am worthy. From this state of mind, I affirm that I am prosperous. From this state of mind, I affirm that I am supported. From this state of mind, I affirm that I am healed, happy, and whole. From this state of mind, I affirm that my name is royalty. From this state of mind, I affirm that my name is holy and worthy and beautiful and good. From this state of mind, I affirm that my name is abundance. And I now submit to that flow of life. I submit to the flow of abundance in, through, and as my life. I am so grateful and thankful for these beings, for these souls that are right here, right now, and within the sound of my voice. I'm grateful for all the ways in which the law of thinking operates in, through, and as them. I am so grateful and thankful for all the ways that they will be demonstrators to remind all of humanity, as China is reminding us, and as our brother Mitch Cook is reminding us, that disciplined, orderly, constructive thinking is how we will change our lives and ultimately change our world. I'm grateful for these world changers. I am grateful for these light beings, these light workers, these miracle workers that are operating with the law and are demonstrators of the law, leaving behind the clues that are always there for any person to learn that there is something working with them, and it is good. From this place of awareness, I release this prayer with joy and thanksgiving. And together we say, amen. Amen. Thank you.
My thinking makes it so. And so I choose to see peace instead of this. Of Course in Miracles also says, I rule my mind, which I alone must rule. It talks about the idea that there is this kingdom, my mind, that I must rule. It don't feel like I'm in charge of it at all most times. But it's reminding us that we have the power and the possibility and the discipline to do so. We talk about free will, but we don't use our free will to choose what we want to think. Many times we're allowing the TV to think for us, as PG said.
Talk about it.
We're allowing the magazines to think for us. We're allowing our bank account to think for us. We're allowing our exes to think for us. Or is that just me?
I heard that. Have mercy.
Did I just get personal? My thinking makes it so. Yeah, let's take that again. And release it. Release it. When we begin to laugh at the past choices and thoughts that we held, then we can release all of that stuff, right? We can release it and decide for a new thought pattern. Become disciplined in the way we apply a new thought pattern. And because the law is responding to us, it responds to what we think. Consistently, not just right now. Right? We forgive ourselves for our inconsistency. And we begin to practice for the next 21 days. Consistent thinking. Can we agree to do that?
Yes.
It doesn't mean we beat ourselves up when we realize, when we're aware that we're not being consistent or thinking the way we want to. We just instantly put the Band-Aid on and bring ourselves back, right, PJ? Let's do that for the next 21 days. Think consistently in favor of what is beneficial for you. All right? Thank you, PJ.
Beautiful. So in this moment, it is time for us to prepare for giving. First, I just want to say thank you to those who have already given, if you've given online, or text to give, if you'd like to text to give. The number is 347-744-9500. Just follow the prompts. If you'd like to give online, you can just go to our website right from your phone or to one of the iPads at the host table, celebrationsc.org. S as in spiritual, C as in center.org. Here at CSC, we say the same thing week in and week out,
Yes.
because it cannot be heard enough of the truth of giving. As we recognize that the law is always responding to us, and it's responding to our thought and our vibration. This law, universal law and abundance, which we will be talking about in this series, it's not responding to your dollar amount. It would appear that way, right? It seems that way. Oh, if I give $100, then the universe is going to know I want more money. If I give $1,000, the universe is going to know I need more, right? It's not the way it works. It doesn't respond to your dollar amount. It responds to the vibration and the thoughts behind the money that you're giving. And so if you give $1,000 in desperation, all you're going to get is more desperation. A new situation for you to feel desperate about. But what I know to be true, what I've learned, my life has proven it to me, back to me, and in ways that I need to experience and I need for it to express in my life, that's how it multiplies. And so this is why when Jesus talks about the faith of this mustard seed is like dust, y'all. And that's the point, that the size doesn't matter, right? What matters is what's behind it, the thought, the faith, the knowingness. So what is your joy number? What is that number that you're able to give in faith without worry, doubt, or fear? Give that and watch the blessing. And when you do that from that place, this is why we affirm this truth every week. All the money that I use, returns to be multiplied. In a never-ending cycle, of increase and enjoyment. With that, I call our ushers forward. Let's take a very joyous offering.
More love comes rushing back to me. Thank you. I give my time, more time's available to me. Thank you. Doors are opening for me. As I give, I receive. Yes, it's all coming right back to me. I give my love, more love comes rushing back to me. Thank you. I give my time, more time's available to me. Thank you. I give my treasure. Doors are opening for me. As I give, I receive. Yes, it's all coming right back to me. I give my love, more love comes rushing back to me. Thank you. I give my time, more time's available to me. Yes, thank you. I give my treasure. Doors are opening for me. Right back to me. Coming 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 right back to me.
Let us extend our hands, and through our hands, the very life beat, this life force, this way of thinking that is one with you, Mother, Father God, one with all the power, the peace, and the ease. We bring our minds and our whole being to this place of knowingness that our thinking makes it so. And so this week as we go out, we develop a new habit. We in line with love thoughts, to think in alignment with abundance thoughts. We allow our minds to be transformed, transmuted, and restored. to their rightful place. We come back onto the throne of our own mind. We are grateful today for the givers and for the gifts. We release these words knowing that they are so, that they are done. And together we say, amen. Amen. Ashe. So it is.
Let's affirm this truth together, y'all. I give my love.
I give my love, more love comes rushing back to me. Thank you. I give my time, more time available to me. Thank you.
I give my
I
treasure.
give my
Doors are
treasure,
opening
doors
for me.
are opening for
As I
me.
give
As I
and
give, I receive.
receive. So
It's all
coming
right
back,
back to me.
back to me.
Coming right back to me.
Coming right back to me.
Coming right back
Just
to
as
me.
easy as I
Coming right
breathe.
back to me.
It's coming back.
Coming right
As I
back to me.
breathe in, I breathe
Coming
out.
right back
As I breathe in, I breathe out. It's coming right to me.
right back to
Oh, it's coming right back to me.
back to me.
Right on back to me.
Right
Just to me.
right back
Oh, right back to me.
coming right back to me.
And so it is. Let's stand, everybody.
Before we close out, there's one thing. We have a lost and found that is full to capacity. If you are missing some items, please go. Where's Randy? Randy, is the lost and found available back there? Is at the host table? Yes. If you're missing maybe a scarf, an umbrella, or maybe a water bottle. How you leave here without that, I get it. You're just high on love, right? Please check it out because next Sunday we will in love donate all of those items. So please, see Randy in the back of the room if you think you left something and it might be there. There's glasses in there. I don't know how you're walking around and not seeing it. There's all kind of goodness in there. Right? So check it out. Again, next Sunday, if it's not picked up by next Sunday, it will be donated in love. And we will assume that you meant it to be so. Okay? It is God Talk Sunday. If there's anything coming as a series as you read the text in your life and you want to be in community and apply these teachings to it, no questions off limits. Anybody that's been to the God Talk, raise your hand. Woo! Is it a fun time or what? Yes. You never know what people are going to say. And how we're going to help them move through, okay? So next Sunday, 1 o'clock after service. But if anything's coming up for you now, write it down and leave your worries on the altar. We set that up as a ritual, as a way for you in habitual fashion to begin to release things. And let our prayer champion this week, Nick Bullitt, will pray over it all week long. Our prayer champions walk the earth in the knowingness. They speak the knowingness. We do not beg, barter, bargain, or beseech God. We know that we are one with God, one with law. So if something's on your mind and on your heart, release it and leave it there. When you do that, what do we say every Sunday?
All things are possible.
Now, all things are possible. Now, every little thing is possible. 'Cause I know who I am, and I know who I know. Whose I am.
Now all things are possible.
Sing it, PJ.
Now everything Thank you.